Dear listeners, you're listening to the Pashtano Mermanu Jarga, presented by PashtunWomenViewpoint.com.
د پښتنو ښځو د لرلید ویبپاڼه. قدرمنو اوریدونکو، تاسو د پښتنو ښځو د لرلید د ویبپاڼې یا پښتون ویمن viewpoint.com څخه د میرمنو جرګه اورئ.
I am Malali Bashir and I welcome you all to the Pashtun Women Viewpoints program, the Mermanu Jarga. With me is my colleague Habiba Tasalla. Mr. Sajid Arghandewal is accompanying us from Kabul. Today's guest is the award-winning Afghan journalist and filmmaker Najibullah Quraishi. Mr. Quraishi has produced documentaries including The Dancing Boys of Afghanistan, Opium Brides, and Fighting for Osama. His other films include Afghan Massacre, The Convoy of Death, and Afghanistan Behind Taliban Lines. So, Quraishi Saab, you have worked for more than 10 years for TV and radio as a journalist. How did you start producing documentaries?
It's a long story. When I was in Afghanistan, I was working for Afghan National Radio and Television before I moved to United Kingdom in 2002. And at that time, I had a weekly TV program was calling Sharema Khanaima, which is in English we can say my home, my town. And also I was presenting news on the television and radio. Then I started working as a freelance for Western media, especially some broadcasters in the United Kingdom. I started since 2001, but I moved to United Kingdom since 2002. Then once I get here, then I started thinking of making documentaries. Then I came to this field, and while I was working, also I was studying something about how to make documentaries in the United Kingdom. So far I was working for a British film company called Atlantic Celtic Films at that time. And through that company, I was embedding with several documentaries from Iraq, Afghanistan, and all other countries from Asia and Arab countries. So I was working for that company as a Asia and Arab producers, and as you already mentioned, I made several documentaries from Afghanistan, such as The Dancing Boys of Afghanistan, Behind Taliban Lines, Fighting for Osama bin Laden, Opium Brides, and My Enemy's Enemy. And recently I made another documentary which was broadcasted from Channel 4 in the UK just 2 weeks ago, was called Taliban Child Fighters. And currently I'm working on something else, which soon I will start editing it.
Thank you, Mr. Quraishi. We also have another documentary maker with us, a young documentary maker. His name is Sajid Arghandewal. He works in Afghanistan. My question is that, Mr. Quraishi, you have a lot of documentaries, without doubt, and your documentaries have been very controversial. And one of your documentaries on Opium Brides, where a father actually, in exchange, he has to give his children to him. And before that, you had another documentary about Bachabazi. So do those children get sexually molested by the drug lords, or I don't even know what to name them, by those people?
The two documentaries you mentioned, one was on boys, like how the warlords and rich people abusing young boys, which called The Dancing Boys of Afghanistan. They were using as entertainment, and also at the end they were using they were sex or abusing those kind of boys, which you could see on the film how they pick up the boys, the poor boys from the town, and they were training them to become a dancing boys. And then another one you mentioned was opium brides, which it was on girls, how our young girls or Afghan young girls suffering from what their parents or what the drug dealers forcing to do something. So that two documentaries were completely two different angles, and both were humanity films, and as a result I won several awards from United Nations as well. And the Dancing Boys of Afghanistan was broadcasted for over 50 countries by now. And Opium Brides also broadcasted from the United States, Australia, some European countries, and the United Kingdom.
Yes, but in your documentary, The Opium Brides, you did not mention the sexual abuse those girls go through. Do they go through sexual abuse, or do they just exchange them and they keep them there as servants and maids?
I was investigating on that matter for over 6 months. But if you notice on the film, I have interviewed few people, including an MP from Nangarhar, which
Yes.
she clearly was saying they were using as a sexuality, and also they were using to transport drugs from one country to other. And also she mentioned that they were using as an entertainment and to dance for them. But of course, although I didn't go to Pakistan where they were transporting drugs, and I didn't see them, in reality what they are doing. But according to what I found, they were using for everything is possible. For sex, for dance, for entertainment, and also transporting drugs.
The findings and problems that you have filmed in your documentaries are those that are well known, but not talked about critically and publicly. Keeping your research in mind, how do you think these problems can be solved or at least minimized?
I can't see any solution unless the government do something, because as I interviewed lots of farmers in the rural areas in Afghanistan, they were all blaming Afghan government as they didn't help them. Although Afghan government receiving billions of dollars the last 10-12 years, but they haven't done anything for the people, for the farmers who lives in the rural areas. So it was all the financial problem they had. There was no enough water, there was no enough land, and also they get nothing from the government. So this was the problem where they had no choice to continue growing drug. And at the end, what happened, you could see on the film.
Why Afghan film producers do not get more exposure, and why their work is not as famous as of their foreigner counterparts? What do you think about this?
Is that question for me or for Mr. Sajid?
It's for you, Mr. Quraishi, and then next Mr. Sajid can follow up.
Yeah, although I make documentaries mostly for Western countries, one thing I noticed in Afghanistan, especially in Afghanistan media and journalists around in Afghanistan, there is lots of progress in Afghanistan, especially thousands of journalists. If you go to any provinces, you can see answers of activist journalists working for local media. But what I noticed for Afghan journalists, they are thinking of, they are not thinking of worldwide. They're thinking of their field. Whatever they make, they're just concentrating their own fields. And they are not reading the situation worldwidely. Or really big, in a big, heights. So personally, when I get to London, I was reading the situation really worldwidely, and also I was thinking, what should I make for the world, not only for Afghan, not for Afghan audience, not for German audience, not for the American audience. So I was thinking, let's make something for everyone. Everyone has to watch, and also it was really, really taboo subjects. I was doing really taboo subjects for the attention of the world, for the government, for for NATO, to finally they should do something for the country and to solve the problem. And unfortunately, from Afghanistan, I didn't see any active journalists to do such big things. Although everything exists, we know about Bachabazi, everyone knew about Bachabazi, but they haven't done anything. And also opium rights, it's really, really common in Afghanistan, but no one has courage to do something. I couldn't work out either they're really worried about their security, or they don't want to do about these things, which is really, really important. And so by doing this, personally, I was doing this to bring some changes. We should put some pressure on Afghan government as well as to their Western backers. As we can see, there was billions of dollars raising in Afghanistan by the name of women, children, and poverty. But in reality, we didn't see any changes. All the money, I assume, all the money went to the corruption government and to the warlords.
I just wanted to say some words here regarding the words of Mr. Quraishi. I'm really happy by having you today, and it's been a pleasure by having you all here in the conversation. Regarding your answer, I just wanted to say that actually the field of documentary filmmaker in Afghanistan is not that much professional, or that much, is not a lot. That every journalist don't know much about documentaries and this stuff. That's why they don't have the ability to show the world that what they can exactly want to show. In the organization that I'm working, its name is Afghan Voices, Afghanistan's New Generation, and it's one of projects is Afghan Voices. Maybe you have heard about that. Actually, they train us how to make a documentary film. So we get training, and the documentaries that we are making all goes to other countries worldwide, and has been shown in many festivals around the world. So you also have got training in UK, training of documentary filmmaking, because you didn't have the facilities to get that training here, or to get that education of documentary filmmaking in Afghanistan. So that was the main reason of not showing the world what exactly you want. So there should be like facilities for the journalists to know about documentaries and to get training about documentary filmmaking, so then they can show the world what they exactly want. One of our filmmakers, her name is Sahar Fitrat. She has made a documentary which has got a first position in one of the festivals, famous festivals in Italy. Her documentary was about street harassment of girls. So she made a documentary with her like hidden camera. The camera was not that much professional, but she did her best in a very hard situation, and she got a first prize. So actually, we still don't have those facilities to make documentaries and to show them to the world. You had like support from the Western countries So that was the main reason that you came here and you made documentaries. But there are lots of people who want to make a documentary, but they don't have any facilities. So my question is, what do you see? Like, how do you see the future of filmmaking in Afghanistan? Like, how do you see the future of filmmaking in Afghanistan, and what would be your advice for the filmmakers in Afghanistan?
Thank you, Mr. Sajid. As you said, in the Western countries, I had lots of facilities. I can say my facility was my ideas. If you have a great idea, then that's everything. Then any broadcaster will really proudly commission the film and give all the expenses. And one thing you said about documentary makers in Afghanistan, I completely agree with you. As I know, there is a few documentary makers in all Afghanistan. Maybe now we'll get more or better. But I was blaming on all the media on journalists. We cannot expose only these taboo subjects through the documentaries. We could do that. We could expose these kind of stories through reporting, reportage, or something else. But they haven't done anything. Even Afghan journalists from Afghanistan. And also, you mentioned about filmmaking in festival, worldwide festivals. Everyone knows it will show in a big hall for some really for some audience, like maximum for 200, 300, or 1,000 people. But we have to make if you want to show in reality, we have to broadcast through television channels such as BBC or PBS or other broadcasters. And that will, in my opinion, that will definitely bring some changes, which I could say through my own experience. I don't know if you watched the Dancing Boys of Afghanistan. There was a few boys were affected by those warlords, and as a result of that film, we put some pressure on Afghan government, and Afghan government managed to arrest all the pedophiles, and including the singer, including the other pedophiles. Although a while ago they were released from the prison, but what we have done, we managed to save those children's life. We managed to settle their life to other provinces, and through some Western journalists now we are providing some financial support to them, and they are studying in a school, and they were getting education, especially the Shafiq, the youngest boy. And also from my recent film, which was called the Taliban Child Fighters, we also managed to bring one of the audience, one of the viewer who watched the film. She agreed to save one of those boys' life. So soon we will bring two of those boys to the UK for further study and to be in the United Kingdom. So it's more effective to show through televisions. And I want to come to your question. Direct question was you were asking me what I will see the future. The future, I'm really positive about the future. But one thing which make me negative is once NATO leaves their troop, all the country they will also reduce their interest to Afghanistan. Would be great if we add these things before, the last 10 years. In the future, if they leaves, if NATO leaves their troops, then the situation will, in my opinion, will get worse. And not only security point, everything will go down. To be honest, I really don't know what would be the media situation. As I know, Tulu TV is the biggest channel in Afghanistan, and since last year, for each provinces, they had before they had like 4 or 5 journalists working for them, and now they reduced to one journalist. Even for some provinces, they closed their office, and this is not a positive answer for everyone. If the media going to close down their offices around the country, and that would be really bad for the population, for the people who are going to face some problem, and there would be no one to expose that. So in conclusion, I'm not that much, positive on that, and I cannot see any bright future.
Do you think that after 2014, and with the new government, would that have any impact on freedom of speech and freedom of expression in Afghanistan? Would the change of government would bring any difference, and would that have any impact on freedom of expression, freedom of media?
We definitely will have a freedom of speech. I don't think if there is any problem. But one thing, their activists, the activist journalists will not do anything around all the countries, and the main problem is the security. If the security gets worse, then there is no hope, and also the media won't cover everything if they don't have any representative. So this is another. It's a big problem after 2014. As you guys might know or know, at the moment, Tulu TV, which is the biggest TV again, they get funded from USAID. Lots of their program was supported by United States, so after 2014, I assume they will stop helping them. And that will be a big problem for Afghan people and for the journalists to cover all over Afghanistan.
Do you already mentor or intend to guide or train new and young Afghan documentary makers on how to get their work exhibited on international level? And we understand from you, and of course they have to have some very good ideas to make successful documentaries before their work is taken serious.
Yeah, my suggestion would be for them, they should think not in geo-blocking, in geographically, like within Afghanistan. They should think really widely. They should think about the world. They should bring something everyone has to interested on that, such as the documentary I made. Lots of journalists I met, I have lots of friends in Afghanistan. When I go each time, they invite me for a coffee or for a drink, for a dinner, for lunch in Kabul or around Afghanistan. But when I was talking with them, their ideas really, limited areas. They were thinking only about Kabul. They were thinking only about Nangarhar, or some were thinking about all over Afghanistan. But I never found any journalists who were thinking worldwidely. This is a big problem. They should read about other countries and trust. They should read about the problems we are facing or Afghan people are facing. For instance, when I was making the Dancing Boys of Afghanistan, lots of my friends from Afghanistan were asking me to not do that, because if you do that, you will exposing these bad things to the world, and everyone were thinking really bad about Afghan people. Then I thought, so this is a problem we have. We shouldn't hide these things from everyone. Let's expose to bring some good changes. how long we should hide these things? Although we know this is existing, although we know opium brides is existing, why we should hide that? It's not about shaming something. Yes, as Afghan, I mean, it was shameful for me. To be from a country where these things were existed. But as a journalist, I had to done my job. We had to show some bad things to bring it, to make it changes. So my suggestion for these young filmmakers would be to think, to read white, and to make something for all over countries, not only for their own land or for their own, districts or provinces.
And would you want to train these new Afghan documentary makers?
As long as I know, there is lots of organizations around in Afghanistan, some provinces, such as IWPR, as long as I remember, and some others organization, where they wished me a while ago if I can go to Afghanistan, training them, and but although I was busy with my own things, but they are carried out some courses in different provinces, such as Mazar-e-Sharif, Kabul, Kandahar, Helmand, and but I don't know how the journalists took it seriously, but they had some courses, and honestly, if I could do anything for this young generation, I'll be happy to share my ideas and my experience with them.
You have very controversial documentaries, and of course not everybody agrees with it, but do you think your documentaries would have been that acceptable if a woman would have made them?
Oh yeah, for lots of documentaries, I was really wanted some women to get in bed with me, especially for opium brides. But there's a few filmmakers, as a documentary maker in Kabul, I know they're based in Kabul, they started making documentaries, but suddenly they went to dramas. They caught by some TV channel in Kabul, and they changed their field from documentary making. They went to some serial and some other things. And at the moment, I don't know any female documentary makers. At the moment, I have a project on women, about the women, and I really want some female to support me on that. But to be honest, I couldn't find.
And my other question is, don't you get scared when you go and the middleman treats you with other people? Because I noticed in your documentaries you always mention this middleman. There's always someone who introduces you to other people, and then that puts. How do you trust these people?
Basically, when I'm calling middleman, the middleman is a professional journalist from that area, and we call him fixer. And as a journalist, I have fixers around Afghanistan. When I'm saying fixers, most of them are a really famous journalist in the area, and I don't want to mention them. And they are the people who have really well connected with the other people, like with the Taliban and with other insurgents group. And basically, I contact with my middleman or fixer, and fixer will contact with them. And then, as soon as they promise my fixer, fixer is really trustable people. I cannot trust any ordinary people. I trust only the fixers who I know really well. And then what I do, as soon as I get confirmation from my fixer, then personally I go in the field. Before I embed with them, I call them. I'll talk on the phone with them, And as soon as I get the answer, the straightforward answer, yes or no. If they say yes, you'll be my guest, you'll be protected, we won't harm you, you will be like that. Then I think I really think what to do. If I found their promises really real, then I will go ahead. If not, then I won't. So I won't do anything. I cannot do anything without my fixers. The middleman or fixer is the key. And if anyone wanted to work to any other countries, the first thing they should do is to find a good fixer, good journalist from the field. And if you have a good journalist from the field or good fixers in the field, you will be successful. Your project will be done successfully, and you wouldn't have any problem. So this is what I do.
Well, this is kind of surprising because so basically a documentary maker, a journalist knows a fixer and can get to those people, but the government cannot.
Of course, government. Lots of the fixers, they work for me, or they're even part of the government. They were working for the government, one of the government broadcasting or media express or something like that. The government knows everything. Everything. The government knows opium brides exist. The government knows the dancing boys exist. The government knows there are lots of children fighting against the NATO. They are supporting the Taliban. The government knows. The government have some secret prisons for children. I'm sure you don't know at the moment 1,400 children start from age of 10 are in the prison, and they were arrested by the government, and they don't want to mention these things. And the recent film I made was from their life, and I get permission to go visit them inside the prisons. And there are lots of things the government knows, but they won't. I don't know why they don't take any actions. And unfortunately, this is why we are suffering, or Afghan people are suffering from different issues.
Before asking a question, I just want to mention some words here. Well, actually, Najibjan, my main aim of getting training of documentary filmmaking is like to show the situation of Afghanistan, the beauty of Afghanistan, and what exists in Afghanistan to the world. And I'm in this field for about 6 months, so that's why I'm not that much professional to find ways to how to show them. But I have written lots of things which has been sent to thousands of people around the world. So I wrote about corruption and this stuff. So there are some people, not some, but many people who have lots of idea and want to share their works globally. The new generation, but they still need some time to do it properly. And I come directly towards my question. Can you please tell us about the creative nature of Afghan people?
You said you're trying to make something about beauty of Afghanistan, all these things. One thing I should say, if you're going to make these things for the world, I can say straight away, no one attention about the beauty of Afghanistan. There's lots of other countries that are more beautiful than Afghanistan, and who care to watch? I mean, if you go to BBC, you say I have a beauty of something about Afghanistan, they won't be ready to broadcast from BBC or from PBS or from Frontline.
Well, yeah. you may have heard about Nancy Dupree. Al Jazeera has made a documentary on her. She has spent her 50 years of life in Afghanistan just because of the beauty of Afghanistan. He fall in the love of Afghanistan because of its rich culture. So that's what Afghanistan dragged her or attract her towards itself. So I think we have negative things, but showing like by beauty, I didn't mean like to show the mountains or to show the like the nature. By beauty, I meant like to show we have lots of positive things that nowadays, like we have lots of young generation who want to do something for their country, who want to take out their country from all of these kinds of problems. So by beauty, I didn't mean
I got your point. If you make something for positive, so you want to make something, you have to bring some changes. If you make positive, then positive is positive. You don't need to bring changes. If you want to bring some good things, you have to show them negative to make it positive. I mean, if you make it something globally, you have to show something new for the viewer.
Nowadays, like we have lots of young generation who want to do something for their country, who want to take out their country from all of these kinds of problems. So by beauty, I didn't mean
I got your point. If you make something for positive, so you want to make something, you have to bring some changes. If you make positive, then positive is positive. You don't need to bring changes. If you want to bring some good things, you have to show them negative to make it positive. I mean, if you make it something globally, you have to show something new for the viewer. I mean, I know positive, although there is not that much positive we can say. We don't have a fancy life, we don't have food to eat, we don't have a school, we don't have nothing. What's positive you mean?
Well, I went to Tajikistan like a month ago. There I met some of my UK friends. When they saw me, they got shocked because they didn't think that Afghanistan will have a documentary filmmaker or a writer or a journalist, because media has shown them all the mountains and the guns and these stuff. So at that time, I decided beside all the negative things or all the realities that Afghanistan has, I will have to show the beauty of Afghanistan, its culture, and about the people, because all the people are not negative here. We have very open-minded people.
We have a great nation, great people in the world. We are very, kind, friendly, really, really good people. We are all Afghan nation, really good people, I should say. If you make something like that, the only place you can show that is from Afghanistan, from Afghan TVs, not worldwide, not from BBC.
Your point is that there are positive and negatives in Afghanistan, but the positive is less than the negative aspects of our culture and our people?
I mean, positive, we do have lots of positive within our nation, but if you then concentrating to our situation, especially from the last 10 years, the ordinary people's life is really down. We have only 5% educated people. There is no school. There is a war. If you go to some other provinces, like if you go from Kabul to Ghazni, for instance, I went there 6 times last year. Even the road is not safe. If you go just a kilometer away from the main road, there is insurgents. So if we don't have security, if we don't have school, if we don't have proper government, so what's positive then? And the other thing I forgot to mention is that a while ago I wanted to make something from Bamyan, from some beautiful places in Afghanistan, to encourage some tourists to go to Afghanistan. Then later on I thought, why I should do that? If I'm gonna make that for some big channel from big broadcaster in the world, then if there is lots of interest to go to Afghanistan, if suddenly some tourists would go from the United Kingdom or America, and if suddenly they killed, who is responsible? Then I thought, no, I shouldn't do that. I don't want to encourage people to visit such a beautiful country because of the security, and the security is the main issue of our country.
Yes, we have a question from question. His name is Imran Feroz. He says, why Mr. Quraishi has never made a documentary on Afshar massacre?
But I made a documentary about Dashti Laili massacre, where 3,000 people were killed by Northern Alliance.
Yes, sir.
So that was one of the massacre I made, and that film was shot from over 60 countries by now, called Afghan Massacre.
Thank you so much, Mr. Quraishi, for coming here and coming to our Jarga and taking part in our Jarga. Thank you so much, Sajid, for coming to our Jarga too. Mr. Sajid is online from Afghanistan.